I keep reflecting on that weekly advertisement in one of the newspaper magazines. It's of a man and a horse and a watch. In fact, advertising a watch. I'm not that interested in the watch. I'm not that interested in the horse. But I am interested in the words that the man, Simon Baker, speaks. He says, elegance is an attitude. But elegance is more than an attitude. Elegance is displayed in the way you walk, in the way you talk, in what you wear, in your whole presentation, your personality. Elegance transforms the ordinary, and something becomes memorable, especially at Christmas. The houses in my suburb are quite a mixture, as I suppose in any suburb. There's the large and the small, the closed and the open, the dark and the light. But at this time of the year, a few dress their houses with lights. Some very elegantly done, some vastly overdone, but all of them saying, if we had some ornamentation, the house will look different. Passers-by will see a difference. And we, in our personality, will feel different. For most people, Christmas comes down to obligation and arrangements. Obligation to send a card or to buy a gift for people or a person maybe that you haven't seen for a long time, several years, or for people you saw only 2 days ago. Obligation. Or there are the arrangements, the cooking and the holidays that have to be arranged, what to do with the cat, what to do with the goldfish, and what to do with the horse. Arrangements. Some of us will pause to hear the story, as we have done today, of the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. A story put together, in fact, in the late 1st century, long after he had died. Or was it the early part of the 2nd century? The story was put together at that time. An invented story, yet repeatedly announcing something of very great importance. Yet, if you're not careful, people today, and on every Christmas day, will take it as something literal and historic. So from the high platforms of the Vatican to the sparsely populated pews of the tiniest church, the preachers will be talking about God coming down to earth. The story, therefore, requires us to switch off our brains and go on singing the unbelievable unrealities, some of which we sang today. Unto us, we didn't sing this one today, but here is one of them. Unto us a boy is born, King of all creation. Came he to a world forlorn, the Lord of every nation. Every nation? China, Russia, Iran, and we could go on. Why do we go on? The religious and theological deception ought to be quite intolerable to us, something to be dismissed as unbelievable so that we can get what is really important. So no matter what a million pulpits may say today, let us state the case as clearly as possible. God did not come down to earth at Christmas. Because in the 21st century, we know that the idea of a God up there cannot be sustained. It is time for us to come down to earth ourselves and tell the truth, honest to God, and look squarely at the universal human pathology that continues to exist, especially evident in our destructive behaviours, suicide bombers, populations in which guns are more important than human goodness, destructive behaviours where we lose direction, lose perspective, lose kindness, lose all goodwill. But human pathology is not the only card on the table today. Let us dream of our human potential, our good potential. Let us plan for that good human potential, and let us celebrate that good human potential. Today I set myself the task of naming 4 things that would make Christmas Day more memorable. Well, let us put one there straight away. Christmas is about the human personality and how we can make that human personality memorable. It is about goodness being born and reborn in the human discourse. It is about us all discovering and rediscovering our personality potential for good, remember. Today I'm going to revisit a few of the ideas and themes I'll put before you at various times through the year. And one such theme finds focus in the title of this book, which is called U-Turn. Some of you have a navigator in your car, and if it's like mine, you'll know that the speaker says in such a beautiful voice, if possible, do a U-turn. No yelling, no shouting, no bluster, just a beautiful female voice saying, if possible, do a U-turn. We need to hear that voice in other areas of life as well. Any one of us can discover that we are not going in the right direction. If possible, do a U-turn. Any one of us can discover we're not doing the best possible things for ourselves and for other people. If possible, do a U-turn. We'll all be the better for it. The scripture from the book of Isaiah said, awake now, take on new strength, shake off the dust, wear your loveliest garments. Christmas is about letting your personality take on its best expression. In my work, in the other part of my life, I have developed a way, as many of you know, of viewing the personality by reference to a system of Fs. I started way back with 5 Fs. Now I have 22. Today, just the fourth. The fourth. Put it in perspective. The first F is, how do I feel? The second F is, how am I functioning? Am I functioning at my best potential? The third F is, what is my focus? Focus of the self. Or have I lost focus? And the fourth F, what is your fantasy about the future? Your future. What is your dream? The Christmas story of the birth of Jesus, fiction as it is notable for the power of the dream, the belief in the future, planning for the future, the potential of that personality, the potential of our personality. A U-turn away from the destructiveness and the various pathologies to focus on our best potential. That's number one. Number two, the human personality is expanded as we become engaged in our enjoyments, good enjoyments. Another book I have introduced you to this year is by a man called Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Yes, he is an American psychologist, known to me. I take great pleasure in being able to spell his name, Csikszentmihalyi. I'll not test you about that. And the book that he and his wife wrote is titled A Life Worth Living. Make it memorable. Here are top psychologists of the world speaking our language. All of us are searching for a life worth living, embracing personality development across the lifespan, spiritual growth across the lifespan, achieving well-being across the lifespan, being emotionally intelligent across the lifespan, finding what makes us truly happy across the lifespan. They are saying, don't wait for your best enjoyments to just lob in front of you. Create those enjoyments. Consider the best enjoyment that will expand and enhance your personality. That's a good word for Christmas, isn't it? Adding something to expand your personality. I mentioned through the year Kenneth Taylor's words that he spoke at the Futurist Convention. He spoke of creating a new human being. Would you believe it? He said, throughout history, luminaries have referred to the better angels of our nature, the multiple expressions of positive creativity, gentleness, goodness, generosity, the better angels of our nature. He said the human being, as we have come to know it, is short-sighted, self-centered, self-satisfied, and often self-destructive. We need to discover the better angels of our personality to engage in a life worth living. So all who know that they have achieved a great deal in their lifetime know that something more yet is needed. Colour, quality, softness, elegance. All who know that they are low on various life indicators know something more is needed. Self-compassion, self-soothing, self-balance, support for others. Adding something which will give energy, elegance to a life worth living. And the third, the Christmas story and the birth narrative of the Christmas story have too often become stuck way back there in language and in imagery that probably is no longer meaningful to us. They need energy to speak meaningfully to our generation. Otherwise, they keep playing the same old, worn-out record over again. We keep singing the same stuff. Does it make any difference to us? Not really. Not really. The Christmas event was the signal that a new faith was being born. A new faith with energy for a better life. And so I brought you this book in the last couple of years, A New Faith, Discover a New Faith. That's what we need to do every Christmas, almost every day, because of the circumstances in which we live. We need that faith. Jesus of Nazareth, in his adult years, said, you need faith to live. Don't get bogged down in all the arguments about what you believe and what you don't believe, what the church says about creeds and all of that carry on. Forget all that for this time and think faith. You need faith to live. Faith in yourself, faith in the future, faith in other people. The bigger faith you have, he said, listen to this. He said this, the bigger faith you have, the better you cope. And notice that faith is about an energy. Energy in the personality, energy in your behavior, energy for life. That was number 3. Number 4, I'll give them back to you now. Number 1 was remembering that U-turn, so that we see our potential, our personality potential for good. A little bit of elegance into your personality, a U-turn to get that to happen. Number 2 was to look at a life worth living, a focus to your life, focus in the future, so that is there. Number 3 was the energy. We need that energy of a new faith. Number 4, it's about enrichment. Maybe they all say the same thing, do they? Perhaps. If there is no enrichment happening in your life, be sure of this, your personality is going to go pretty flat. We're often committed, all of us, committed to quick, sometimes concealed gratifications, and we forget the enrichment, or we obfuscate the enrichment, or we confuse the enrichment by believing that our gratifications, our quick gratifications, are really our enrichments. But enrichment is something more than that. So I took down the dictionary. What does it say about enrichment? It said 4 things. It says, since I'm giving 4 points to the address today, even the dictionary had it right. It gave 4 things for enrichment. It says it means to make rich or richer. It means to endow with mental or spiritual wealth. It means to make splendid with decoration. It means to make richer in quality, flavour, colour, or content. They're good, aren't they? All in all, enrichment is about adding something. When they talk about uranium enrichment, they're talking about adding something. We're talking about adding something to your life, adding something to the human scene this Christmas. There was a time back a couple of decades ago when the ground floor windows here in this church were a pretty dreary amber. They said nothing except amber. Everything was amber. We did a most astonishing thing, a most extensive thing, by adding this whole range of extraordinary stained glass right around the downstairs part of the building. The whole church, therefore, was transformed. Every person who comes into this building, thousands every year, both at church services and through the visitors through the week, stand back and look at these stained glass windows. They make a huge difference. The whole church building has been transformed. Or we can go just around the corner here to the tapestry. Once that wall was blank, now it has this striking tapestry there. Something more was added. Or today we have this Christmas tree that I insisted should remain lit up during the address today, because there it is, unique. A unique Christmas tree. You've never seen a Christmas tree like it. It's quite exquisite. It gets away from what you might expect. Same old thing, we'd say. No, it isn't. Here you see something quite distinctive. And on top of it, it's like a crown, as it were, to remind us of the grace and glory of life. A little bit like what is on these flowers here today. All of them, they reach upwards, and on top, the grace and glory of life, shining there for us. Take these images away. Through the year, I took you on a mind journey several times into the artworks of Edvard Munch and Caravaggio. I introduced the works and the ideas and peoples of different cultures. Last Sunday, we had the people from Colombia here and Kenya. We've had people from Hungary, from Turkey, from Japan and China. Their culture, their kind of life coming amongst us, and whereby we could be enriched by that. We brought an array, would you believe it, an array of 22 French horns through the year. The flute, Bruno and his trumpet, and the trumpets and the brass, all of them. We brought Eliane Lassade with Mozart's Piano Concerto No. 27, a magnificent, and the pianists like Amir and many others. I brought you the poetry of W.H. Auden again, Wallace Stevens again, D.H. Lawrence again. And we brought you Greta Bradman and many singers, the choirs of different places, and the children's choir of East Eltham Primary School, all there, giving us something extra. And today you've heard about our new programs, our program booklet, not yet ready to distribute, but here it is. It says, awake, live, and grow. We mean in these programs of well-being, these programs are meant to be part of our enrichment. adding something more to your life. You can do without them, of course, you can all do without them, but by being part of them, you add to your life. It's the enrichment of life that we seek in this place. I spoke of the artist Klimt, who saw that his paintings were so flat and just two-dimensional. So in order to bring life and depth and new meaning to it, he added ornamentation to the painting. Add something good to your life. Make it memorable this Christmas. I thought of other things we brought to, and I could name many, but I brought various glimpses of the world of psychology and psychoanalysis to you, as you might expect. Not only through my own writings and my own work, but from people who I call my colleagues, George Vaillant, Irvin Yalom, Alexander Lowen, Ian Suttie, deceased, Michael Eigen. All of them in their various penetrative way of thinking about the human personality, bringing something to all of us, I hope to you, to enrich our personality. Perhaps, therefore, we see that within the Christian and the Christmas story, there are possible new horizons can open for all of us. It's not just a dull story that's repeated over and over again. New horizons, all part of our ongoing enrichment. And sitting as I do most days with people needing to take a U-turn, needing to a new fantasy of the future, needing the energy of a new faith, I brought to you the words of that 19th century hymn, set to the music that I wrote, and Reese placed it in its proper harmony for us. And in it, I hope you found enrichment. Enrichment of personality, enrichment of attitude, enrichment of life. Something beautiful, something to add on. Elegance. My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the sweet, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. I find an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? Have a memorable Christmas. Would you please stand? And so the blessing for this Christmas day. It's the same blessing that I give every Sunday. But this is the blessing for us, especially today. May the God you see in all the colours of creation arouse in you a sense of awe and wonder. May the God who is a sacred presence be real to you. May the God who is a source of inspiration and courage keep calling you forward. May your God go with you and bless you today and always.